This is a very simple ceremony, but an important one. When you have homes, or those of us who have homes and, and buildings, there's a huge cost of maintenance. And this is not the first time we are spending money on maintaining the stadium. Over the years, we've been spending money on the stadium, whether replacing the toilet bowls in there, the tiles or broken tiles or repartitioning. The request from the International Cricket Council when the hosting of international matches, there's some things that we have had to put in place. The terra firma which we have, the stuff which you see that we put on the grass during the World Cricket Festival, it cost in excess of $400,000 US. And that was purchased simply to protect the playing surface when we have events like the Krill Festival, because in countries like ours, you cannot afford to have a facility for every event or every activity. In the United States, when you see these huge concerts, they are being held in football stadiums. They don't have special facilities for this. So I know people have been calling for special facilities for Krill Festival and all these things, but who's going to pay for it? And where is this in the order of priority? And do you want to build a facility to be used only once a year? And at what cost? So we have to be practical in our country and understand that we have but a limited amount of resources to do a number of things, and running a country is similar to managing our domestic finances. We have a number of needs, but you have an income, and you have to be able to meet your expenses based on your income. If we're spending more than we're taking home, then you're gonna have a problem. Big Edge is gonna come and tell you, look, we gave you $5,000, you're supposed to pay. Why have to pay? Because Big Edge has to give more money to sports and to education. We have to understand that this is how the country operates and so on. But $404,000 is not an insignificant sum in the circumstances. It's a lot of money to be spent in the economy. We have a local contractor who is known to the government system for doing diligent work, and we have no doubt that he will continue to do this in regards to the re-roofing of the stadium. And we're doing some metal works, ensuring that we maintain the railings, because if you do no maintenance, you have a problem. And in our countries, we inherited, I'm not sure whether it's from the British or whoever inherited it, but we have difficulties in maintaining state buildings. Unless it doesn't fall down on its face, we do not maintain it. And I have personally been pushing the government system that if you spend millions of dollars to build a facility, then you must maintain it, and do not wait for when it gets to $5 million and say you do not have money to repair it when you could have repaired it $50,000 in the first instance. So we, in the Ministry of Sports, we have been putting together a maintenance plan for the stadium, and the hope, as we've seen, is to spend some money every year on maintaining the stadium. And what I intend to do is to set up, with the approval of the cabinet, a separate account where a percentage of the proceeds which comes to the stadium for the use of the stadium will go into that fund, and that the committee can have access to maintain the stadium, because sometimes they need a gallon of paint, and they have to go through all sorts of rigmaroles to get a gallon of paint. We know how the government system operates. So that's something that we'll be doing, and I'm hoping that very soon we will take a decision to set aside some funds from all activities into a special fund so that they can use for the maintenance of the stadium. Some weeks ago, we signed a contract for the lighting of 5 playing fields, as the minister indicated last night at the Sports Award. The intention was to have done, 24 playing fields. But because of we were on the threshold to sign, we were just about to sign the contract for the 24, and Tropical Storm Erica visited us. And what we have done is to say, look, we cannot do all at one time. as originally envisaged. Let us do it in a phased basis. So we had the first 5. I expect after the passage of the of the new budget, we'll do another 5. So we may be able to do the entire 24 in a 2-year cycle rather than a 1-year as we had originally envisaged and so forth. That notwithstanding, we continue to maintain playing fields and spend money in the playing fields. We'll be spending some more money on Geneva playing field to upgrade it. We spend some money on Soufriere. You have seen the spanking new playing field Grand Fort has. It cost the government close to $1 million with land acquisition and moving of dirt and hauling of soil from Lapland area to bring into Grand Fort, retaining wall, a crossing on the road to cause access to the playing field. So it cost close to $1 million. You come to Vegas, and if you look at Vegas, what Vegas playing field was in 2000, when I became a member of parliament, and see it now, I mean, tremendous work has been done there. So we like to speak about that which has not been done, and not speak to that which has been done. And by talking about what has not been done, we're not sending a proper signal, a good signal to the sportsmen and women. Because in St. Joseph, we've had some of the best football and cricketers. Where were they playing? In Grand Fort, before, we had some of the best cricketers coming from Grand Fort and volleyball players with literally no facilities. I believe, yes, we need facilities, but we also need a commitment and a dedication on the part of sportsmen and sportswomen to make the best of the circumstance and the opportunities which are available to them. We have to stay clear from the use of drugs, in sports, and there's no place in sports for drugs. We have to engage ourselves in physical activity, not just showing up and then running a playing field. Too many times I see we have tournaments in Dominica, organized by associations and the Ministry of Sports, and there is no prior practice as a team. People show up and, you have to be counting whether you have 10 fellas to go on the beach, and we cannot make West Indies players out of the attitude. We can't be international athletes if we do not have commit ourselves to this. We've received, another point is that we've received some gym equipment from the government of the People's Republic of China, and there's a request before me for an amount of funds to retrofit the space, to set up the gym. That I believe I will give favorable consideration to. So very soon we will have a public gym. I would not like the government to be managing a gym. I don't think the government should be managing a public gym. That's where one of the associations should step in and partner with the government. We provide the space. You don't have to pay the rent, but it is a gym for the public. So can we have the alliance of associations responsible for managing the gym and set up a schedule for that so the public can have access to it. We can't rely only on the government to do everything where sports is concerned. We have to play our part, and I am putting it out there, subject to what the Ministry of Sports and the sports coordinator think. But it's my personal view, which I have not discussed with them. But I don't think that we want to be managing a gym. If the gym will retrofit the building, it will be available, the space will be available to the public, and whether an association can be prepared to manage the gym and so forth. The other issue with regards to the indoor facility, as you know, we were well on our way with the indoor facility. We had secured $5 million US from the government of Mexico for this, so we had financing for it. We were concluding the drawings and for this facility, but in light of the storm, we had to take deliberate decisions, and we have several families to relocate, to resettle, to build homes for. We have to build roads in those communities, bring in water, bring in light, bring in telephone, provide these families with rental income. We are paying the rents for all of these families that have been dislocated. We are paying income support. Every month they're receiving a certain amount for income support per family. So it is a huge sum of money. It's a huge sum of money, and we have to make a deliberate decision as to what is the priority at the time. So we have not scrapped the indoor facility. All we are saying is that there'll be a delay in implementation of it. But that notwithstanding, the Ministry of Sports continues with the designs, the instructions that be given to them. So once we can see our way in respect to the resettlement of the communities, with regards to the infrastructure, then I believe that we will be in a position to look at the commencement of the facility. I say us, if all goes well, see us commencing construction of this indoor facility in 2017. I foresee that, based on how things are going, I believe we'll be in a position to commence construction in 2017. In the meantime, we have been looking at improving not only the Massac playing field, but the basketball court in Massac, with a view to ensuring that the facilities there. And even if we have the indoor facility, we will still need to upgrade Massac and in particular that has been heavily used for various court activities. So we'll be looking at this, and I'm hoping to put funds in the budget for the Massac hard court to cover it, to improve on the stands and the safety of players and spectators alike. So that's a major priority for us, and that will be done. That will be done in the financial year 2016-2017. So I really want to commend the Ministry of Sports, the sports coordinator, the sports division, because when you look at, and I always say that the government is its worst advocate in terms of promoting what it's doing in the country. We don't speak sufficiently about the good things we're doing in the country. You hear a lot of criticisms, and maybe because sometimes, do you spend the time responding to every criticism that is leveled against the government? But the number of great things that the sports division have been doing over an extended period of time. If you remove the sports division from the sports landscape, I can give you assurance that 90% of the sporting activities will not exist in Dominica. And they're all financed by the government, with some support from the private sector. But sometimes people expect the sports division or the Ministry of Sports to do certain things that are not within its mandate. And this is where the associations have to come forward. I continue to put forward, look, let us work together with the Tennis Association for years, that we're prepared to finance the construction of hard courts in Portsmouth and in Rose to start with some land there we have identified in Canefield. But we have to be serious about our engagement. We can't only be about when we have to go to Rio or to go to Athens and to go to Olympic, and not spending time developing the athletes, not spending time working in the Ministry of Sports to develop sports. It can't be about a trip to Olympics and we dress in our green jacket and the parrot on our chest and then we go to these events. Who are we going to see? Who are we going to promote? So the government is prepared to invest. We've been investing. We talk about a stadium. We want a stadium. And we cause the stadium to be a priority over the hospital, over the West Coast Road. And it is built, and we have had tremendous success, international games. And it is under this administration that we saw the first international cricket match in Dominica, the first international football match. And the sports coordinator indicated we had to travel outside to play a home game. And Dominica has become the envy of other nations in respect to the host of international cricket. And we are not getting any favors from the West Indies Cricket Board or the ICC. It's because Dominicans come out to watch cricket, and based on the gate proceeds indicated by the West Indies Cricket Board, Dominica is one of the most profitable venues for the host of international cricket, because we come to watch cricket and we support good cricket. And we have gotten tremendous positive reviews from every cricket board that has played cricket in Dominica, from the Indians, from the Australians, to play cricket there. I believe once we can increase our hotel rooms in Dominica, we'll be able to host England. here in Dominica, because as we've been advised, England, a huge contingent of fans normally accompany them to the tours, and you need a certain number of hotel rooms to do this. So, and we've been very, very responsive, and we've been proactive in preparation of the grounds and the stadium facilities to host the international cricket matches and so forth. So, notwithstanding the increased competition with new stadiums and across the region, Dominica continues to be one of the better venues for hosting of cricket. So we look forward to the work on the stadium. We have more work to do. We have to continue with the work. I want to commend the efforts of the stadium manager and the staff. We have to continue to ensure that the building is maintained for long-term use. It's a huge building, it's a huge structure to maintain. It's not cheap. It's a huge structure to maintain. But we have to maintain it nonetheless for future generations to enjoy and benefit from it. But rest assured of our commitment to sports, our continued commitment to sports. It's under this administration we have seen more physical education teachers at schools, and not only at secondary schools as was the case before, but even at primary schools we have physical education teachers there. I am a critic of the Ministry of Education and the schools in that they're not paying sufficient attention to physical education. We need to have more time allocated to physical education at every level, not to second form or to third form as exists, because what does it profit a child to have 11 ones and obese and have all sorts of health issues? And we are setting aside the health of the mind and the body for academic excellence. Academic excellence is fine, we have to promote it. But there must be a balance. If there's not a balance, then we're going to have a problem. We're going to have a health crisis. And we can only address issues of obesity, or one of the ways to address issues of obesity is through exercise, for physical activity. But if a child comes to school every day, 5 days a week, and sits in the class for 5 hours and not even run or never walk around the school, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Diabetes, hypertension. What's the cost of treating those two ailments and so forth? So we have to go back to the drawing board in respect to physical education and sports at our schools, and to ensure that at every level, what is wrong? It's going to harm a child if a child academically, if we set aside 30 minutes on our week for physical education. We pass a policy in the government which allows public officers to have 1 hour a week and to use the stadium facilities to exercise, paid by the government, because they're taking 1 hour. They can leave work at 3 o'clock and spend this 1 hour on government's time to exercise. Unfortunately, not many have taken advantage of it and so forth, but to their own peril. If you don't exercise, you're going to have a problem. So sports and physical education are critical, but the Ministry of Sports and the Sports Division can't do it alone. It requires the support of the associations, it requires the support of parents, it requires the support of sportsmen and sportswomen, and it requires the support of the private sector. You understand? Unless we have the full participation of all stakeholders, not only sitting back and criticize, but identifying a challenge and also recommending a way of improving it and so forth. So I really want to commend the Minister of Sports, who has been doing a fantastic job leading the ministry and advocating for programs and projects in the Ministry of Sports. And I can tell you she's constantly at me, and at the cabinet, making very strong representation for sports and for sports programs. And I really want to commend her for her extraordinary leadership in the Ministry of Sports and the work what we've been able to achieve during her stint as Minister for Sports. And I have absolute confidence in her abilities and her leadership at the Ministry of Sports. And as the Minister of Finance, the least I can do is to support her. and this I'm giving public commitment to supporting the activities of the Ministry of Sports financially, so that we can take sports to a much higher level than it is. But facilities are important. Facilities alone are not going to make us international sports stars. It's going to require commitment on our part and dedication to this. And people must understand that you're not playing cricket for Skerrit, you're not playing cricket for Justin Charles. Because when you go and you end up on your West Indies cricket team and your salary is $50,000 a month, you don't call me and give me any share of it. You don't call anybody and give it is yours. So we have to treat this thing like any of us treating our profession and our engagement. You understand? What you make is going to be for yourself and your family. And there is money to be made in sports. I can just understand how guys like Desmond Haynes and these people are looking back and say, well, look, I wish I was playing now. You have IPL, most of these countries now with huge sums, So there are opportunities in football, football clubs, even in the region. There are football clubs that are paying decent wages to be part of a club. So there are opportunities, and we have to look at it as our profession, as our way of life, and as our means of survival. And what we can do to assist you, we can. But there's some things the Ministry of Sports and the Sports Division cannot do for you. So I want to wish the ministry well, and hope that and pray that the contractor will be diligent, because as you know, we have difficulties with some contractors. It takes so long to do a job, and then I get blamed for it because it's delayed when, it is not my fault, it's the contractor's fault. People work, when it comes 3 o'clock, they wash their tools and they change their clothes to go home, but when they go to the United States, they work double shift, triple shift, and they see how wonderful these countries are, how developed these countries are. But it's because we develop these countries. We put more effort into these countries than we put in our own. Things that we won't do in Dominica, we will gladly go to another country next door to do it, and to build the economy. When you look at St. Martin, if you would remove Dominican contractors out of St. Martin in the 70s and the 80s, St. Martin wouldn't be here how it is today. Dominican builders are the ones who build French St. Martin and Dutch St. Martin. And they will tell you so in St. Martin, though grudgingly, but it's a fact. And we need to be able to demonstrate the same level of diligence that we do out of Dominica. People boast us out of Dominica. We need to boast ourselves in Dominica by our work, by our deeds, not by our words, but by our actions. And there has to be more diligence. We have to be able to finish a project within the stipulated time. And I hope that the stadium manager who will be overseeing, and along with the sports coordinator, the day-to-day implementation of this, that the work will be done in the time allotted, because the rainy season is coming. The worst thing you want to have is the stadium uncovered and rain wet in the area and undermining the integrity of the building. But we trust that the contractor will be diligent. They'll work until they can't see light. And because these days, 5:30, 6 o'clock, you still have light. So I don't see why we have to end the work. I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I have no holidays. I have no break. I have no free time. And then you work for 5 hours and 8 hours, and but sorry for being so long. So, but I'm happy to be here, and I look forward to this work, and let us continue to maintain the stadium and so forth. And we'll certainly address this issue of the paralysis of the committee, in that it doesn't have access to even $5 to buy a paintbrush when it requires it and so forth. We'll address this. I am aware of this. Thank you.